Ghost Part 1, The Room Nobody Wanted. Expanded approximate. 2 A4 pages. Tom, a 21-year-old college sophomore, was tired of couch surfing and rising rent. When he found a listing for a private apartment just minutes from campus for an unusually low price, he didn't hesitate. The landlord, a frail old man who spoke in a near whisper, didn't ask many questions. He just said, "Don't worry if you hear things at night. Old places creak." No lease. Just a handshake, and a key that felt oddly cold in his palm. The apartment itself was livable. Outdated but clean. The wallpaper was yellowed with age, and the wood floor creaked with every step. The bedroom was the size of a storage closet, with a single bed, one dresser, and a small window facing a brick wall. Tom liked the quiet, the isolation. Felt like he could finally breathe. That night, lying in bed, the city outside muffled to silence. Tom scrolled through his phone until his eyes felt heavy. Then, scratch. A soft, dragging sound came from directly under the mattress. He froze, held his breath. Scratch, scratch. The noise returned, steady, like fingers dragging across wood. Tom sat up. "Rats," he mumbled, annoyed. He slapped the mattress side. The sound stopped. Silence. But in that silence, something else crept in. Breathing. Slow. Rhythmic. Too deep to be an animal. Too wet. Too human. Tom's stomach knotted. He leaned over and turned on the small bedside lamp. The warm light chased away the shadows. The breathing stopped instantly. Nervously, he knelt and looked under the bed. Nothing. Just dust, a pair of socks, and an old shoebox. Still, the room felt colder than before. As if something had just slithered back into the shadows, barely missed. The next morning, the lamp was off. His phone was dead, despite being plugged in. The digital clock was frozen at 3:33 a.m. Tom brushed it off as faulty wiring. But unease hung over him like fog. Later that day, he mentioned the weird noises to a girl in his literature class. "You're in 3B?" she asked, frowning. "Yeah." "Why?" "My cousin lived there last semester. Left in the middle of the night." She wouldn't say why. Just cried and wouldn't sleep for days. Tom forced a laugh. Maybe she's afraid of rats. But that night, the scratching returned. Louder. Clearer. And after it stopped, the breathing began again. Closer. Right beneath him. And this time it whispered, "Are you awake?" Ghost Part 2. Something rotten. Approximate. 2 A4 pages. Tom hadn't slept well since his first night in the apartment. The scratching, the breathing, and now the whisper, it all haunted his thoughts, clinging to him even during daylight hours like a shadow just outside his vision. He convinced himself it was stress. Maybe sleep paralysis. Maybe his brain was playing tricks on him. College life wasn't exactly a mental health retreat. Still, every night at 3:33 a.m., the pattern returned. Scratch, scratch, breath, and then the whisper. He began sleeping with the lamp on, headphones in, and calming music playing, but nothing blocked it out. Then came the smell. It started subtly. A faint, musty odor in the room, like damp towels forgotten in a locker. But within days it grew stronger. Rank. Sour. Decay. It was worst near the bed. Tom pulled the bed away from the wall, lifted the mattress, checked the vents, even got on all fours to search for dead animals. He found nothing. No mold, no trash, no explanation. The smell didn't fade. It intensified. One night, Tom couldn't take it anymore. Armed with a flashlight, he crouched down and shoved his head under the bed. Dust bunnies scattered. A backpack. A sock. That same shoebox. And a dark stain on the wooden floor. It hadn't been there before. He leaned closer. The stain looked soaked, like something had seeped up through the floorboards. He sniffed, recoiled. The smell was foul. Rotting. Organic. Tom grabbed the box, expecting it to be empty. Instead, it was oddly heavy. He opened it. Inside were old photos, black and white, bent at the corners. Girls. Mostly young, in school uniforms. Some smiling. Others not. In the last photo, a girl stared straight at the camera. Pale. Eyes dark like bruises. Her arms were twisted at unnatural angles. Tom's stomach turned. He slammed the lid shut. As he stood to push the bed back into place, the lights flickered. And for just a second, he saw a shape under the bed. Pale arm. A hand, curled inward, its fingers broken backwards. Tom screamed and backed into the wall. But when the light returned to normal, there was nothing. No hand. No stain. The box was gone. The smell remained. He didn't sleep that night. Not even with the lights on. He sat in the hallway with his back against the front door, shaking. He Googled everything he could. Paranormal infestation, phantom smells, old building deaths, scratching under bed. He found one forum thread, buried in an abandoned website. Someone had posted, "Whatever you do, don't answer it. Not when it whispers. If you acknowledge her, she comes closer." Tom shut his laptop. From inside the bedroom, in the muffled dark, he heard movement. Crawling. Then a voice. Clear. Female. "I know you're awake." Ghost Part 3 The Warning. Approximate. 2A4 pages. Tom didn't tell Jess everything. He mentioned the noises, the smell. Left out the photos, the whispers. She already thought his obsession with horror movies messed with his head. But he needed someone to stay over someone else in that room. Jess agreed, though reluctantly. "Just for a night," she said. "Then we find you a better place." When she arrived, she wrinkled her nose. "It smells like something died in here." They cleaned together candles, incense, air fresheners. Nothing helped. The stench clung to the room like a wet sheet, soaked into the walls. Still, Jess joked about it, laughed it off and cuddled beside him on the bed. Tom almost believed things might go back to normal. Until 3:33 a.m. Tom didn't hear the scratching this time. He woke to Jess screaming. She sat bolt upright in bed, yanking the sheets to her chest. Her hands were shaking, her face pale with terror. "Tom, something touched me." His heart dropped. She pointed toward the foot of the bed, eyes wide. "There was a hand. It reached up and touched my ankle. I swear to God its fingers were bent backwards." Tom turned on the lamp. Nothing. The room was still, silent. But the cold, the same biting cold he'd felt on night one, was back. He could see Jess's breath fog the air. She started crying. She was under the bed. A girl. Her face, God. Her face. Jess refused to stay another second. Tom had to walk her to the car, barefoot, barely dressed. She never went back inside. The next day, she texted him only once. "You should leave that place. It's not just in your head. I saw her too." Tom didn't reply. Instead, he bought a cheap baby monitor with night vision. He needed to know if it was real. He needed proof. That night, he set it up in the corner of the room, pointed at the bed. Then he waited. The red dot on the camera blinked softly in the dark. 3:30 a.m. Tom kept himself awake by squeezing his hands, over and over, until his nails left half-moon imprints in his skin. The smell returned. The air turned still. 3:33 a.m. The monitor made a faint clicking noise. Night mode engaged. Tom stared at the monitor screen. For a few moments, nothing happened. Then movement. From beneath the bed, a hand emerged. Pale. Dirty. Fingers broken at impossible angles, twitching. Then another hand. And slowly, like a spider unfolding from the shadows, she came out. The girl. Her limbs dragged unnaturally across the floor, joints bent the wrong way. Her eyes were empty voids. Her jaw hung slack, twitching as though she was trying to speak but forgot how. She stood beside the bed, looking directly at Tom's sleeping body. She did not move. She did not breathe. She just watched. Then, as if sensing the camera, she turned her head toward it and smiled. Tom stared, paralyzed with horror. His hands were ice. His stomach churned. Then the monitor screen cut to static. And behind him from under the bed came the sound of soft, deliberate breathing. She wasn't on the screen anymore. She was there. With him. Ghost Part 4 The footage. Approximate. 2A4 pages. Tom didn't sleep. He couldn't. After what he saw on the baby monitor, he stayed huddled in the hallway until dawn. Every light on, kitchen knife in hand. The moment sun spilled through the window, he rushed to unplug the camera and shoved it in his bag. He couldn't trust his memory. Maybe he dreamed it. Maybe his eyes played tricks. Maybe stress had finally broken him. But the footage would tell the truth. He took the SD card to the media lab at campus, somewhere public, somewhere safe. The room was quiet, empty, only the faint hum of computers. Tom slipped the card in, opened the video. He skipped the beginning, jumped straight to 3:30 a.m. The room on the screen was quiet. Still. Then click. Night vision. The image turned greenish, sharp. 3:33 a.m. Movement. She came out again. The same girl. Twisted limbs. White dress, torn and stained. Long, black hair tangled like wet roots. Her mouth hung crooked, trembling. Her legs didn't move correctly, more like something crawling inside her skin, guiding her from within. Tom stared, wide-eyed, as she stood beside the bed and watched himself sleep. The sight was worse than he remembered. She wasn't just watching. She was mimicking him. When he shifted, she tilted her head. When he scratched his nose, her fingers twitched, like a shadow learning how to be him. Then, slowly, she turned to the camera again. But this time, she did something different. She walked toward it. With every step, the static increased. The screen glitched. She got closer, closer, until her face filled the lens. Then she leaned in and whispered something. Muffled. Distorted. Her lips moved slowly. Tom rewound the clip. Played it again. Zoomed in. He read her lips. "You see me." And then, the footage cut to black. Tom sat frozen. The room around him felt colder, darker than before. He heard the softest noise behind him, like bare feet on linoleum. He turned around. Nothing. The air buzzed with pressure, as if the room itself was holding its breath. Tom copied the footage to his phone and rushed out of the lab. Every shadow on campus felt wrong. Every face unfamiliar. Everyone stared too long. Or didn't stare at all. He called Jess. No answer. He called Sam. "Bro, I'm not coming over if it's that bad. Just leave. Burn sage or something." Nobody believed him. But he had proof now. Hard, visual proof. That night, he texted the footage to a paranormal subreddit. Begged for help. One user replied immediately. "She mimics. She wants to replace you. Do not sleep in that bed again. If she gets close enough, if she finishes learning you, there will be no difference. And nobody will notice the switch." Tom read the message 5 times. He looked up. The camera he had unplugged was plugged back in. The red light blinked at him. She was watching again. Ghost Part 5 gone. Approximate. 2A4 pages. Tom didn't sleep that night. He sat on the floor, back against the closet door, phone in one hand, a pocket knife in the other. The lights stayed on, every corner of the room visible. He didn't even blink for long. But the red dot on the camera blinked back, calm, steady, patient. She was there, watching, waiting. He checked the footage again, over and over. Her movements, the mimicking, the whisper. "You see me." He tried posting to more forums, messaging ghost hunters, even calling a local psychic. No one responded. Time dragged. Minutes turned into hours. 3:32 a.m. The apartment grew cold again. Lights dimmed. The smell returned, stronger, heavier, wet and sour. He whispered to himself, "Don't sleep. Don't answer. Don't look under the bed." 3:33 a.m. The lights went out. Tom's heart stopped. He fumbled for his flashlight, but it wouldn't turn on. From beneath the bed came the first sound. Scratch. Then another. Scratch, scratch. And then, Tom. Not a whisper this time. A voice. Feminine. Clear. Soft. It said his name like it had always known him. Like it belonged to him. He closed his eyes. Covered his ears. "You're not real. You're not real." But the voice was inside his head now. "Come closer, Tom. Let me finish." He opened his eyes. She was standing over him. Twisted. Pale. Hair matted and dripping. Eyes black like ink spilled on glass. Her jaw unhinged as she tried to smile. She reached out. Tom screamed and ran. Out of the bedroom. Down the hall. He didn't even grab his phone. Just keys. He burst into the night barefoot, breath fogging in the cold. He drove. Didn't stop until morning. He checked into a cheap motel 2 towns away and collapsed. He was safe. He was finally away from her. The next day he returned with police. They found the apartment unlocked. But it wasn't empty. Inside was Tom. Lying in bed. Eyes open, staring at the ceiling. Alive, breathing. But something was wrong. He didn't respond when they called his name. Didn't move when they touched his shoulder. He blinked. Once. Then turned and smiled a crooked, unnatural grin. The officers said he must have had a breakdown. No signs of forced entry. No evidence of a second person. They let him stay. He said, "I'm fine. Just tired." Now the landlord lists the apartment again. Another tenant moves in. And on their first night, at exactly 3:33 a.m., They hear scratching beneath the bed, followed by a whisper. Are you awake? But this time, it's Tom's voice,